My dear, I'm going out tonight with someone special, my unfaithful wife said casually as she slipped into her best dress and sprayed on her most expensive perfume. I was standing by the kitchen counter, holding a half-empty glass of whiskey, still wearing the shirt I had worked in all day, stained from fixing the leaky sink she'd complained about for weeks. My eyes followed her reflection in the hallway mirror as she checked her earrings, those diamond studs I bought her for our anniversary. The same anniversary she forgot last month. You're not going anywhere, I said. My voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was the kind of voice a man uses when he's reached the edge. She turned, smiling like she was stepping into some rom-com fantasy. Her dress clung to her body in a way I hadn't seen in months. She never dressed like that for me anymore. Not since July. I want to spend the night with a real man, she said with a smirk. Not a loser like you. He'll show me what it feels like to be truly desired. I felt something shatter. Not a plate or glass. Something internal. Something old and sacred. You do realize, I said, slowly, that the consequences for this will be fatal? She laughed. She laughed. Like it was all a damn joke. Like I wasn't even a human standing in front of her, just a broken toy she was done playing with. She walked out the door with that laugh still echoing, heels clicking like gunshots against the tile floor. Didn't look back. That was the moment everything inside me went cold. By morning, I'd already made every decision. I sold the apartment to a developer friend of mine named Jarrett. Dirt cheap, just to make it fast. I emptied the accounts, checking, savings, even the hidden one she didn't know I knew about. Transferred everything to a secure offshore setup I'd been building for months after noticing her patterns change. Signed the divorce papers I had quietly prepared months ago, just in case my suspicions were right. And then I left. No calls. No messages. Just gone. She came home that evening to an empty space. No furniture. No paintings. No TV. Even the damn coffee maker was missing. The place looked like it had been robbed, except it hadn't. It was justice in motion. But here's the twist. I expected rage, confusion, tears, or even a half-hearted apology. Instead, she posted a photo of herself on Instagram that same night, smiling on a rooftop bar with a caption that read, "Freedom never smelled so good, kiss mark." It got over 400 likes in an hour. I laughed. For real this time. She had no idea that I was already 2 states away, sipping bourbon in a rented cabin by the lake, watching the chaos from a burner phone. The bank notified me that she tried to access our joint account 3 times. All denied. She even went to my office, only to find it shut down, permanently. My assistant, Clara, sent me a photo of her standing outside, screaming into the void. It was beautiful, but the story doesn't end there. 3 weeks later, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. "Please call me. It's about Ashley. It's urgent." It was from her sister, Melanie. The only one in her family who never really liked me, always whispered to her about how she deserved more. I ignored it. Then a second message arrived. "She's missing. We haven't heard from her in 48 hours. She was last seen with a man named Troy. There's a lot you don't know." Now I was intrigued. Because Troy is not a name I expected to hear. Troy Thompson, former high school quarterback, now a personal trainer with a criminal record longer than my mortgage agreement. The same Troy who got kicked out of college for running an illegal fight club in the dorms. The same Troy who once tried to sleep with my cousin's wife. So now I'm sitting here, with a coffee in one hand and a loaded .38 in the other, staring at Melanie's message like it's the beginning of a new book. Ashley wanted a real man. She might have gotten more than she bargained for. And somehow, I know this story is far from over. Ashley had vanished. And for a moment, I'll admit, I didn't care. Not out of spite. Out of exhaustion. When someone stomps on your dignity for months, flirts with betrayal like it's a hobby, and finally throws your love in your face like it's expired milk, it takes a special kind of energy to still give a damn. But something about Melanie's message stuck with me. She was last seen with Troy. There's a lot you don't know. The last part lingered. I knew Ashley was a liar. But how deep did it go? I called Melanie. She answered on the first ring, frantic. "Jacob? Thank God. She's gone, Jake. We've tried everything. Police said it's too early to file anything, but I know something's wrong. She was acting weird before she disappeared. Scared. Paranoid. Scared? That didn't sound like Ashley. She mentioned Troy?" I asked. "Yeah. She said she was staying with him. I didn't like the sound of it. He's trouble, right?" You could say that. I paused. Where was she last seen? Some place called the Crater Lounge. Out by that old industrial park. That place was a dump. A bar where failed drug deals and sleazy hookups went to die. I remembered going there once during my college years, left with a busted lip and a cracked phone. Something didn't feel right. I hung up and stared out the cabin window. The lake was still, peaceful, a lie, just like she was. I had options. I could forget this whole thing and let karma run its course. Or I could go digging. And I'm a builder, not a gravedigger. But closure has claws, and it had sunk them into my chest. So I packed a bag, loaded the .38 into a lockbox under the seat, and started the drive back to the city I swore I'd never see again. The Crater Lounge looked exactly how I remembered it, like despair wore leather boots and smelled like sweat and spilled tequila. Inside, the air was heavy. Low lights, country rock buzzing through tired speakers. The bartender gave me a look like he'd seen too many ghosts. I showed him a picture of Ashley on my phone. Seen her? He squinted, nodded slowly. Yeah, couple nights ago. Came in with some punk, blonde, built, cocky, left in a rush. Looked like they were arguing. Troy, that's his name? Yeah, he's been around. Never good news. Lot of guys here don't like him. Did you see where they went? Parking lot. Then gone. I think she was crying. Crying? Ashley never cried. She faked tears when it benefited her, sure. But real emotion? That wasn't in her playbook. This was different. I stepped outside, lit a cigarette, and thought. If Troy had done something to her, part of me felt that would be fitting. She wanted the bad boy, the real man. And now she was in the kind of real that leaves bruises and broken ribs. But another part of me, it hated that I still gave a damn. After everything she said, after the betrayal, after telling me I wasn't enough. I got back in the car and drove to the only person who knew Troy better than anyone, Darren Bishop. Ex-roommate, ex-con. Now, allegedly running a security firm, which was just code for selling black market weapons and watching too many Jason Statham movies. I knocked on his warehouse door. He opened it with a smirk. Jacob Blake. Damn, I thought you moved to Canada or something. What brings you back? I need to find Troy, and I think he's got my wife. He raised a brow. Wife? Since when did you marry a girl stupid enough to hang out with that psycho? Since 5 years ago. He whistled. You poor bastard. He let me in, lit up a cigar. The place smelled like oil and danger. I ain't seen Troy in a few days, Darren said, sitting down. But I know where he crashes when he's hiding. He handed me a crumpled piece of paper. Just be careful, man. If your girl's with him, she's already in hell. I took the paper, nodded once, and walked straight into the fire. The address Darren gave me was in a part of town that smelled like rot and forgotten dreams. Rusted fences, cracked sidewalks, empty bottles under the porch of every third house. The kind of neighborhood where even the streetlights looked scared to shine. I parked across the street and waited. The building was an old duplex, half of it boarded up, the other half covered in graffiti and broken promises. If Troy was hiding out, this was the perfect hole to crawl into. I watched the place for 2 hours. No movement. Then, just after 11 p.m., a door creaked open. A shadow slipped out, tall, muscular, twitchy. It was him. Troy. Same arrogant walk, same smug posture like the world owed him something. He lit a cigarette and stood under the flickering porch light, talking on the phone. I rolled down my window just a bit. Yeah, she's still here, he muttered. She ain't going anywhere. Not after what she saw. That was all I needed. I got out, quietly crossed the street, and waited for him to go back inside. When the door shut, I moved. Fast. I didn't knock. I didn't call out. I kicked the door in like I'd been waiting my whole life to break something that couldn't be fixed. The room was dim. Smelled like old food and sweat. Troy stood frozen, hand halfway to his waistband. I raised my .38 and leveled it at his face. Where is she? He smirked. That same damn smirk Ashley had when she walked out. Man, you need to calm down. She's fine. She's sleeping. You drug her. He shrugged. She was panicking. Talking crazy. I just gave her something to help her chill. I walked past him, gun still aimed, and kicked open the bedroom door. There she was. Ashley. On the bed. Fully dressed, shoes still on. Eyes closed, breathing slow. A bruise forming under her right eye. My stomach turned. All the hatred I had for her. The lies, the betrayal, the way she laughed when I told her she'd regret it. It all twisted into something else. Something colder. This wasn't justice anymore. This was something darker. I turned to Troy. She came to you to feel desired. You gave her a black eye. She ran her mouth, he said, smirking again. Thought she could boss me around. I don't play that. I didn't even think. The butt of the gun cracked against his jaw before he could blink. He dropped like a sack of bricks. I didn't stop there. I hit him again, and again, until he stopped moving. Ashley stirred, groaned. Her eyes fluttered open, dazed. Jake? She looked up at me like I was some kind of ghost. What are you doing here? I laughed, bitter and empty. Saving you. Again. She tried to sit up, but I held her down gently. Don't move. You're not okay. Why did you come back? She asked, her voice soft. And there it was. The question that burned through every wall I'd built. Why did I come back? I didn't answer. I just stood there, staring at her bruised face, at the wreckage she'd built around herself, and realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. Part of me still remembered the girl I fell in love with. But that girl was gone. This was someone else. Someone who played with fire, laughed at warnings, and ended up in the arms of a monster because she thought it made her powerful. I'm calling an ambulance, I said. And then I'm done. For good. She looked up at me, eyes wide. Jake, please. No. Don't speak. Not now. Not ever again. Outside, sirens were already approaching. I'd tipped them off before I entered the house. I knew what I was walking into. Knew I might need a witness. And as they pulled up, flashing lights painting the cracked walls blue and red, I walked out into the night. Alone. Again, 2 weeks passed before I saw Ashley again. After the cops arrived at the scene that night, I gave my statement and left. I didn't wait to see her taken away in the ambulance. I didn't want her to think I cared, but she did what she always did. Found a way back in. It started with texts. I need to talk. Please, Jake. Just once. You don't understand what really happened. I blocked her. Then came the email. A long one. Dramatic. Rambling. Apologizing, then blaming me. Classic Ashley. Every sentence carried a contradiction. I was scared, Jake. You pushed me away. You were never there emotionally. But I always loved you. I almost deleted it. But curiosity got the better of me. Eventually, she sent a message through Melanie. She says she'll sign the divorce papers without a fight. But she wants to see you. Face to face. Just once. Melanie begged me. She's a mess, Jake. She's not the same. I agreed. Not for closure. I didn't believe in that word anymore. I agreed because I wanted to look her in the eye and confirm what I already knew. That I was right to leave. We met in a public place. A quiet cafe, middle of the day. Neutral territory. No scenes. She walked in late. Of course. Hair tied back. Sunglasses on. Still trying to look glamorous like nothing ever touched her. But the bruise beneath her left eye had faded to a sick yellow. Her hands trembled when she reached for the coffee I didn't offer to pay for. Jake, she said softly, sitting across from me. You look tired. I didn't smile. I've had a lot of peace lately. You'd be surprised how exhausting serenity can be. She gave a weak laugh. Still sharp. I'm not here to trade sarcasm, Ashley. She exhaled, fidgeting. I know. I wanted to explain. I leaned back, arms crossed. Explain how you walked out on me, dressed to impress a guy who ended up punching you in the face. She flinched. Good. I didn't know Troy was like that, she said, voice cracking. I thought he was different. I thought he cared. Stop, I said. Calm. Firm. You don't get to play the victim now. You wanted danger. You wanted chaos. You wanted to feel desired, remember? Her eyes filled with tears. Real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. I was lost, Jake, she whispered. I didn't feel seen. You were always working, always distracted. I felt invisible. You felt invisible, I repeated. So your solution was to destroy the one person who gave a damn. I didn't mean to hurt you. I leaned in. You meant to humiliate me. That night, when you said you wanted a real man? That wasn't an accident. That was cruelty. And you laughed. Her jaw clenched. I was angry. So was I said, standing up. Difference is, I didn't run into someone else's bed because of it. She stood too, blocking my path. Jake, wait, please. I made a mistake. A horrible one. But it's over now. I'm done with him. I want to fix things. I want us to try again. That was the moment. The one where every memory, every lie, every betrayal came crashing down like broken glass in my chest. I looked her in the eyes and said, there is no us. There never was. Just me. Fighting for someone who already left. She broke then. Tears. Shaking hands. whispering my name like it meant something. But I just walked past her, and as I stepped into the sunlight, I felt something lift. Not closure, not healing, just freedom. And for now, that was enough. I thought walking away from her would be the end of it. But Ashley wasn't the type to leave quietly. 3 days after that cafe meeting, I got a call from my lawyer. She's contesting the divorce, he said, claiming emotional abandonment. Says she was mentally manipulated and financially isolated. I almost dropped the phone. She's what? I'm filing a response, but this could delay the process. She wants a settlement. A big one. This was Ashley's last move. A scorched earth play. If she couldn't have me, she'd try to ruin me. That same night, Melanie called. I'm sorry, Jake. I told her to stop. She won't listen. She says you owe her something. I laughed bitterly. I owe her. I gave her everything. Loyalty. A home. A future. Melanie was silent for a beat. She's unwell. She's been spiraling. Drinking. Calling her exes. Even went to the hospital last week after she collapsed in a bar. Sounds like karma's catching up, I said cold. Maybe, she said. But it's ugly to watch. She talks to herself sometimes. Swears people are following her. I think Troy did more damage than she admits. I wanted to say good. I wanted to feel satisfaction, some righteous sense of justice. But all I felt was tired. This wasn't about love anymore. It was about survival. I told my lawyer to fight. No settlements. No mercy. I had receipts, bank records, security footage, screenshots, witness statements. I wasn't about to be painted as the villain in a story where I'd been nothing but a fool in love. And then, just when I thought she couldn't sink lower, she went public. She posted a video. I just want to speak my truth, she said into the camera, fake tears glistening. I was in a toxic marriage. I wasn't allowed to express myself. I was punished for being human, for needing love. It blew up. Her friends rallied. Sympathy flooded in from strangers. Hashtag Justice for Ashley started trending on some local gossip page. I watched it all unfold from my cabin. Each lie like a slow stab to the gut. She was rewriting history, and people were buying it. Until one of my old friends, Eddie, decided he'd had enough. He shared his own post. I've known Jake for 15 years. He paid for Ashley's college debt, bought her mother a car, gave her sister a job. She cheated, humiliated him, and now she's playing victim? Nah, we're not doing that. Others joined in. Stories came out. Photos, messages, all exposing her manipulations. The tide turned fast. She deleted the video, then her entire account. My lawyer called again. She dropped the challenge. Papers will be finalized next week. That was it. The war was over. But the damage wasn't. I sat alone that night on the porch, watching the lake shimmer in the moonlight. I thought of the years I wasted. The nights I believed her fake apologies. The dreams I had about kids, holidays, growing old together. All gone. What hurt most wasn't the betrayal. It was how easy it had been for her to erase everything. Like I never mattered. But I did. And now, I was the one who got the final word. Not in anger. Not in revenge. In silence. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Divorce finalized. Just 2 words on paper, but the weight they carried was heavier than anything I'd ever lifted. It didn't come with confetti. No sense of victory. Just a thin envelope and the dull realization that a chapter of my life, no, a whole damn book, was finally closed. I stared at the documents for a long time. Her signature was there, neat and cold. She hadn't even written a note in the margin. No last jab. No apology. Nothing. That silence. It told me more than any words ever could. It wasn't regret. It was emptiness. She had burned every bridge, and now she stood on an island of her own making, surrounded by the ashes. And me? I was standing on the edge of something new. Not a bright, hopeful new. More like a cold morning after a storm. Quiet. Still. But survivable. I decided to start fixing things. Not the house. I'd sold that. Not my finances. I'd secured those months ago. I started with something much harder, myself. I hadn't looked in a mirror for more than a few seconds at a time in months. But one morning, I forced myself to. Stubble thick. Eyes tired. But I was still in there. Somewhere beneath the bruises, she didn't give with fists, but with words. So I shaved. Hit the gym. Not to impress anyone. Just to remind myself what discipline felt like. I started eating better. Waking up early. I even booked a therapy session. Yeah, therapy. Never thought I'd go there. I was raised to believe men just handled their sh*t quietly, alone. But silence hadn't saved me from her. My therapist, Dr. Morgan, was this older guy with a kind face and eyes that could see through the crap you didn't even know you were holding on to. After 3 sessions, he asked me something that stuck. Do you hate her? I paused, thought about the bruises, the laughing, the way she said real man, the betrayal. Troy. Then I said, no, I hate what she made me doubt in myself. He nodded. That's a good place to start healing. And he was right. See, the worst part of being betrayed isn't the act itself. It's what it makes you question. Was I not enough? Did I ignore the signs? Was it my fault? Those questions rot you from the inside. But with time and brutal honesty, I began to realize something that changed everything. She didn't betray me because I lacked something. She betrayed me because she lacked everything. Integrity, loyalty, depth. She wanted thrill, not substance. Applause, not partnership. And when she got bored, she didn't grow. She jumped. It wasn't about me. It was about her being hollow and needing noise to feel alive. Once that truth sank in, I finally stopped asking why and started asking what now. I enrolled in a woodworking class. Something about carving from scratch appealed to me. Building with my hands. Taking raw, jagged pieces and making something smooth, useful. I joined a book club. Yummy. With a bunch of strangers who weren't afraid to talk about emotions and loss and pain. We drank wine and read fiction, and for the first time in a long time, I laughed without bitterness. One night, after class, I came home and found an envelope wedged in my doorframe. No return address, just my name. Inside was a photo. Ashley, with Troy, from that rooftop night, the one she posted online. But this time, it had something written on the back. Thought you'd want to remember what freedom cost you. No signature. I burned it in the fire pit. And then I poured myself a drink, walked back inside, and wrote a single sentence in my journal. She didn't break me. She just reminded me who I'll never be again. And that night, I slept. For the first time in what felt like forever, I really, truly slept that I thought the fire was out. I thought I had turned the final page, buried the chaos, and rebuilt enough of myself to move on. I was wrong. 2 months after I burned that photo, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I ignored it. Then it called again, and again. Finally, I picked up, just to end the loop. Jacob Blake? A voice asked. Male. Calm, but official. Yeah. Who's this? This is Detective Reynolds. I'm with the local precinct back in Rockbridge. We're conducting an investigation involving Ashley Blake. Do you have a moment? My stomach turned. It was a name I hadn't heard in weeks. Not from anyone serious. Not like this. What kind of investigation? Missing persons case. She's disappeared. No contact. No bank activity. No phone signals in 10 days. I blinked. You're telling me she's gone? That's right. We've spoken to her family. They're concerned. Her sister Melanie gave us your number. Said you had recent contact. Recent contact? I scoffed. Last time I saw her, she tried to ruin my life. We're divorced. I have nothing to do with her anymore. A pause. Well, Mr. Blake, you may still want to come down for questioning. You were one of the last people to see her before the disappearance. There it was. The twist. Are you saying I'm a suspect? I'm saying we'd like to hear your version of things. That's all. After hanging up, I sat there staring at the wall for what felt like an hour. I wasn't scared. I was furious. She was still finding ways to infect my peace. Even from the shadows. I went in the next morning. Clean cut. Calm. I brought every document, email, message, and screenshot I could think of. I laid it out like a damn lawyer. The interview lasted 2 hours. They asked everything. Where I was. What I said. Why I came back for her that night. I told them the truth. I saved her. From Troy. From herself. I gave her the choice to walk away from destruction, and she spat in my face. They nodded, took notes, asked follow-ups. Then finally, one of the detectives leaned forward. There's something else. Of course there was. He slid a photo across the table. My eyes locked onto it. Ashley, in a motel parking lot, standing near a black SUV, talking to someone whose face was just out of frame. Her posture wasn't scared, it was sharp, angry, like she was making threats. That's from 5 days before she vanished, the detective said. We don't think this is a simple disappearance. What do you mean? We found her phone in a dumpster 20 miles from that motel. Wiped. Clean. Like someone didn't want it found. A knot formed in my chest. And the man in the SUV? Still identifying him. Could be Troy. Could be someone else. Whoever it is, she knew him. And she didn't look like a victim. I stood up. So what do you want from me now? Nothing. You're clear, for now. But if anything comes up, we may need you again. As I left the station, something shifted in me. I knew Ashley was a liar. A manipulator. A destroyer. But now, there was something else, something worse. She was dangerous. To herself. To others. And if she was still out there, weaving webs, disappearing into shadows, then this story wasn't over. Not even close. That I didn't sleep that night. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun in slow, hypnotic circles. Ashley was gone. But not gone. Not in the buried in grief or moved on kind of way. No, Ashley had simply vanished. Like smoke. And the worst part? I didn't know if I wanted her found. The next few days were filled with quiet paranoia. Every sound outside made me tense. Every unknown number made my heart race. I deleted every trace of her from my life. But she was back again, haunting without even being present. Then, one night, I got an email. No subject. No sender. Just a link. I stared at it for a while. Logic told me to delete it. But curiosity, that dangerous little beast, had its claws in my throat. I clicked. It opened to a private video. Footage, grainy and static-filled, like it had been shot on a cheap motel camera. The timestamp was from 11 days ago. Ashley was in it. She stood in the corner of a dingy room, arms crossed, pacing, talking to someone just off camera. Her voice was sharp, angry. They think I'm gone. That I'm scared. But I'm not. I just needed time. I needed leverage. She paused. They'll regret turning their backs on me. All of them. Jake especially. Then the screen went black. And my blood ran cold. Who recorded this? Why send it to me? I called the detective. Sent the video. He said they'd trace the IP, investigate. But I could tell from his tone, he wasn't optimistic. Ashley wasn't missing. She was playing a new game. I spent the next week tightening every corner of my life. Changed all my passwords. Moved money into separate accounts. Bought cameras for my cabin. I even started carrying again. .38 holstered under my coat, safety off. It felt ridiculous. Paranoid. But I knew her. Ashley didn't believe in endings. She believed in control. And then, as if fate had a sixth sense of humor, I saw her. At the gas station. Middle of nowhere. I was fueling up, eyes scanning like usual. And there she was, across the street. Hoodie up, sunglasses on, watching me from behind a row of newspaper machines. I froze. She saw me see her. Smiled. A tiny, bitter curve of her lips. Then turned and disappeared into a black car. Gone before I could even blink. I didn't chase her. Didn't call out. I just stood there, hand tightening around the pump handle, thinking about every moment that had brought us here. The lies. The betrayal. The bruises. The way she laughed when she walked out that night. And now this? She wasn't done. And suddenly, I understood. Ashley didn't want me back. She didn't want money. Or apologies. Or revenge. She wanted presence. To linger. To be the ghost in the corner of every room I entered. To make sure I never felt safe, even in my own silence. But I wasn't that man anymore. So I made a decision. I bought a ticket that night. One way. No destination listed here. Just a place where her shadow couldn't reach. I left behind the house, the cabin, the tools, the name. Everything. And on the flight, I wrote the final words in my journal. The one I started the night she walked out. Some people don't want love. They want chaos. And when they can't find it, they create it. Let them burn. Just don't be standing close when they do. I closed the book, tucked it in my bag, and never looked back. Not even once.